Hello and what's up, everybody? And I'm going to say everybody, it's a different kind of intro here. This is actually going to be spread out across 2 different feeds to start. Okay, so we're going to be doing something pretty fun here. We have done something like this before in the past where we're going to be playing a nice little game. We've done it with the Quiet Year, right? That was a lot of fun. That was split up into 4 parts, actually. But it's basically a map making game that we did before, and we're doing something very similar to that, except for this time we're going to be using Home. So it's Home Mech vs. Kaiju. This was actually developed by a really great game company out there. It is called Deep Dark Games. So Deep Dark Games, it creates a bunch of really fun little map making stuff, but this one was pretty awesome. Caught our attention because it is mechs versus kaijus. So just so everybody knows, we've laid out a little bit of groundwork beforehand and created the map itself and selected our playbooks and everything like that. But just to give people a basic rundown of what this is and what it's going to look like, it is a very story-driven game, right? There are a lot of like mechanics that are put in, but really it's just to add flavor text to what we're doing overall. What's really cool about this game, just so everybody knows, you can play it single player, which is interesting, or you can play up to 4 players, which is really cool. There's no GM needed for this, even though it's a tabletop game, so it makes it pretty fun. There are 6 different playbooks that you can pick from. So you have things like the Royals, the Engineers, the Ethereal, there's different ones that you can pick from, Enforcers and all that good stuff. But we're going to be going over a couple of them in a little bit when we explain our people. Roll some dice, see what happens, and the ultimate goal is to just survive this giant kaiju attack. Now, what's a little different about this one than other games is like we are building this world as we are dealing with the kaijus, and we're building it together, right? There's different things that we can do depending on different situations, which will pop up when we get there. But what we did to set up everything is that we laid down our landmarks on our map. I have some screenshots, so we'll try and share that with you guys out there on socials and everything as well. But basically, each landmark is your health. That's how it works out. So we have 5 different locations that we currently have. One of them gets destroyed in the initial strike. We've actually set up our mechs and our pilots, and they have a connection to the world as well, right? So someone that they can kind of care about, or you can have some interesting conversations with before we actually fight these kaijus. But we're going to be working together as well as against each other at the same time, right? So when it comes to the kaiju attacks, basically, like let's say, Chris, right? Mm-hmm. It's your turn. You got to fight the kaiju. I get to create the kaiju that you are going to be going up against, and then vice versa, right? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. This should be really interesting. Like I said, we'll try and get you guys some cool visuals so you can see what's going on. We're using Miro Whiteboard right now to kind of lay everything out and just have everything visually for us to see. But we'll do our best to make sure that this is good for audio, right? But like I said, a lot of this is very story-driven based. So we're going to be making up a lot of really, hopefully interesting things that we have to deal with and create some cool scenarios for you guys. But speaking of playbooks and pilots and everything like that, do you want to start us off? Do you want to talk about what you picked, why you picked them, all that good things? Maybe a little brief rundown of your continent, and then we can go into some of the pre-written story beat stuff so we can get real into the mood of it all.
Yeah, I could go over my pilot real fast because I feel like the pilot kind of feeds into some of the locations on this map. Okay. But so I'm an enforcer, which to kind of visualize what my character looks like. Basically, he's going to have his weapon is this Inferno scythe, right? So imagine like a Grim Reaper scythe, but it's like an energy blade that's more like incendiary style, or it looks more like fire. And my backup weapon is a grapple snare, so that way I can Mortal Kombat, I can just grapple onto someone, pull them towards, and then hit him with the scythe. or grapple
So
and
you're
throw
gonna
them
be full
away.
on like scorpion scythe thing going on
Pretty
here.
much, yeah. Now that you think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that kind of is. The name of my mech is Blue Stinger, and the frame is almost like a sphere. It's kind of weird to describe, but it's like when you get launched out, right? You're just this ball. And then as you're engaging with the enemy, your arms and legs and stuff pops out. Your cockpit is in the middle of it, so it's kind of like there is one area where there's like a lens where you can kind of see, but you can see all around you basically. Like it's, if you were like in the cockpit, you can kind of see normally. It's not like you're just stuck to one little location. It's kind of like you can move around.
Is it like a full like 360-degree like visual?
Yeah.
Inside the center, like kind of like G Gundam style thing
Yeah,
going on.
yeah. It's
Okay.
it's exactly like that. And the reason why it's a spear is like, well, it can be defensive, right? It's almost like a turtle, so it could launch into and then take hits, and then when it needs to fight, it can fight. But my pilots,
I love the idea of you guys, your pilots getting launched out like a freaking cannon, or like the cannon from Mario 64. Like they just drop in and like just see a bunch of cannon fire coming, and then all of a sudden like all the limbs pop out, and you're like, oh shit. Like that's a really interesting visual.
That's
like
kind of what I was thinking, was like they're kind of like cannonballs, right? So imagine like a world before the kaiju, and like if we were warring states, like you would just see a bunch of cannonballs being launched at you, and once they either land or they get close, because that way they could at least do some kind of destruction if they land. Their limbs pop out, and then it's just they're taking over. But
is the military force called the Cannonball Rally?
Ooh.
Like that race?
Oh god. Damn it. My dude's name is Chore, and it's because, in the military, it's a chore to fight. My character is kind of like, he's brought up on propaganda that, like, we need to always be ready, always, like, fight for something. And I was like, well, it's kind of a chore that he's in the military, or, as an enforcer. And that also coincides with his connection. And the connection I picked is called Faceless Memories. And basically, he, as a preteen to now, he's kind of just grown up through, his parents were there, but they weren't. And so all of his connections were through broadcasts. So, he can never put a face on these conversations, these talks, these kind of like mentors throughout his life. It's always just like a voice out there, either on a screen or through the radio. So all his like connections to something that reminds him of his past are just, faceless memories, basically.
That's interesting. So it's kind of like a very secluded upbringing in the Iron Claw. So
yeah. And
is it mainly like very militant from the start when they're growing up? Like they just have orders that they need to fulfill from the beginning, kind of thing?
Yeah. So in this world, right? So they kind of visualize it, right? There's 4 major continents. I kind of have the eastern side, and my top one is kind of shaped like a reverse C. And on the top of it, there's a huge mountain, and there's a city called Iron Claw. And this is one of 2 major cities on these continents. And this is the city that has, military upbringing, heavy emphasis on nationalism. And, they get along with the other partner city to the south, but they're a lot more like irrational and think that you can get everything done through, strength. And because of that, they have a lot of resources on this island, more than the companion continent. So it's kind of
Would you
like,
say it's more like a hoarding kind of thing?
Yeah,
like
it's an
like
island full of hoarding,
okay.
And so it doesn't have a dome over it, like an energy dome. So its defenses are more where people need to be like on cannons, ready to shoot anything down. It's not automatic.
Okay.
And
so hyper vigilant very ready.
Yes. And then on that same continent to the south, there's another mountain range, and there's this thing called a nether energy storage facility. And basically, the kind of energy that's digging through the mines and through the earth is the energy used for, the mechs and just kind of day-to-day life. And this storage facility is one of the biggest, at least on the eastern hemisphere, basically. And, it obviously has a lot of defenses there as well. If anything, it is more defended than Ironclaw itself. So it does have some superior defenses, but other than that, it's mostly the energy facility. And now we get to the other continent to the south, where the command center Helix is. So this is in the middle of a lake, underwater. It's, the intelligence agency. It's got all the info. It's kind of where all the information gets sent to Ironclaw and the other partner city, Valdir. And Valdir is domed. It's a city focused more on research and science, and kind of they believe that they should work with the Western Hemisphere in trying to just better our lives in general. They think that, we could all work together if we learn how to harvest the energy and, create a strong human force or whatever. And
a united front.
Front, basically. Yeah. They're basically like the point where it's like, well, if something happens, we should all work together. There is this place called the Abyssal Forest right near it. It's a little bit outside of it. It's has a lot of energy there. People have tried to explore it, and they can't really make sense of it because it's just a mystery. It's always kind of like foggy with all like the nether energy in the air, and there's some kind of power there that people don't really know what it is. So people kind of treat it like a stay away from there kind of thing, like it's haunted.
Right.
But yeah,
I like that.
I mean, the last place. So, do we talk about the place that has the X on it? I don't know.
Yeah, because it has yet to be destroyed. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do that.
So, the final spot is just this little island, in that middle of that sea. It's kind of like I call it a solar flare shield and base, and basically, before all these events happen, it's kind of like our defense against the Western Hemisphere, where we could position the sun, capture it, and aim it kind of at the Western Hemisphere, and it kind of creates like a big solar beam if it wanted to. But primarily, it's when it's not doing that, it's kind of just like a radar facility, kind of just keeping eye on the Western side of the world.
Okay, I like that. Is it kind of like that new thing that they can basically have like perpetual sunlight at all points in time? So it's like a redirection of light at all points in time.
I can drive you guys crazy with no nighttime at all.
Yeah. Oof, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, make you work 24/7.
Well, some of the people in my group might actually enjoy that, because they're a little crazy. Cool. Yeah, I like the idea of Ironclaw. I mean, it sounds like it's very, it sounds like old nation, right? Like very set in their ways. I really like that idea that you have of the faceless like observer, right? Like it kind of you ever see Ergo Proxy? You ever see that one? Yeah. So it kind of reminds me of that, where it's like they have a robot with them at all times and they're always being surveyed, but like this could just be a camera in a room that gives information, but it's just so commonplace that no one thinks about it, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, yeah, it's just the way it is, right? There's someone there, So I think that's really cool. Nice, dude. Hell yeah. That's the Enforcer group. Okay. So I guess I'll go over what I picked. So I picked the Outriders. I like the look of the Outriders. That kind of like, if you think about it, like think about like the rogue stealthy nation, right? So my nation itself is called the Aegis Imperium. And the big thing that they're known for is drone tech. Okay. And the the main part of that one, I'll go over my pilot and my mech afterwards. But I think with the nation itself, one of the biggest things that they are big on is drone tech surveillance, and they are very science focused, right? So the town of Aegis is very like futuristic in that sense, right? But filled with secrets. You never really know exactly what you're getting. Some people might have different like basically it's just don't fully trust everything that you're seeing because they're probably looking for a way to benefit themselves at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how Aegis goes. It's how it's been able to survive this whole time. But you can almost guarantee that if you're having a conversation with an Aegis official, they probably already know the answers. They just are looking to see what you say, right? Because of all of the different research facilities that are all over the place and surveillance and things like that, right? But that's what I would say about them. And because of that, and because of the science focus, I think the big thing, so like you said, that we split the map up left and right, east, west. I have the left side of the map. It's kind of a little bit more broken up, right? There's a lot of smaller islands. So like I kind of visualized that there were some small surveillance facilities on each one of the tiny or smaller islands around there, just to kind of keep a perimeter and see what's going on. But similar to you, I'm going to start from the top, work my way down. At the top island in the top left corner, we have the entrance to the Aether Mines. There looks like a nice little mountainous area up here. And we call it Aether here, which you call it Nether. It is the energy of the land, right? It is what we are cultivating and we're getting. But when we noticed, one of the big things is that as we are excavating the mines, there's some really interesting seismic measurements that are happening when we're down there. So there's a big research facility on seismic readings and all that stuff. And actually to the south of that, on the standalone island towards the center of the map, we have a seismic base. It's kind of like right in the middle of everything. So we can kind of see what's going on and try and measure things out to make sure that the Aether mines are safe. Whatever it is we're doing, it seems to be making big ripples across the entire continent, entire area. So it is really interesting as far as that goes, right? So Aether Mines is our basic energy resource that then goes on the same continent. We have the Nix Institute. It's led by Dr. Astra Nix. So that is where most of the scientific research is being done. So a lot of the military training, things like that. It is on a different continent than the main town of Aegis and some other like civilian areas, right? So that they can kind of keep things a little bit more secret and secure that way as well. So a lot of the military tech, where the mechs are being built, all that stuff is actually in the Nix Institute itself. It's close to the mines, so there's less travel there, and we're able to keep it out of the civilian's eye as much as possible, so that there's a little bit of secrecy there. And then on the southern part, we have a naval port, because the way that these islands are set up, it's a lot of ocean, right? So I think a navy port just makes sense. So we just have Fort Leviathan there. It is just our main source of commerce, right? As far as like large ships and things like that. I also have on this continent a little port town called Anchorfall. Anchorfall is closest to a sharing continent mass with Ironclaw. So I would say that that's kind of becoming more civilians, more mixed, and it's a easier way to connect with Ironclaw and the city of Valdir, right? Which is your main research facility down here, right? So that way we can kind of share our science and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most interesting parts about that is Valdir and Aegis have something very much in common. They are both domed cities, right? And I'm imagining that these domes are kind of like energy shields around them. And I think that technology was shared and developed between these two areas, which makes it kind of a very interesting idea, where when you think about Ironclaw, right, like, and how secluded it is, and like, but Valdir, it seems to be a little bit more of the, I guess, like liberal, open-minded in my mind, right? So there's a lot of sharing ideas between the South, which Ironclaw is kind of okay with because extra resources, but Ironclaw is able to keep itself safe by being on a completely separate continent on its own, right? So I think that's kind of where we're at there. So very, very science focused, a lot of surveillance. Drone tech is huge for us. So we just have like little drones piloting everywhere just to kind of see what's going on. Now, my pilot is named Damon Cashew. So for all you G Gundam fans out there, Damon is the main character of that. So Damon Cashew is my main pilot. I'm going to say that he's probably... I don't want to do the preteen thing. I want to do like early 20s, right? I'm gonna say that he's an early 20s flight tech. He's gone through the academy. He's not the epitome of the best pilot in the world, but he does have a really strong connection with his mech, right? He is able to make things happen a little bit easier. And one of the big things too with the drones and the way that these things are connected with like the Aether or the Nether, depending if you're talking about Ironclaw or Aegis, since it allows us to control our mechs, the way that I envisioned it is that it's kind of like Pacific Rim style-ish, right? Where there is a connection between the pilot and the mech. And all the drones that you see out there in Aegis are controlled by a pilot, but they are a pilot on the mainland. And most people can only handle taking in the information of one drone at a time, whereas Damon is able to kind of split his mind a little bit and is able to control more drones at the same time. So his mech is called the Hive. It's an agile frame, so it's very quick. And the primary weapon that Damon uses is a drone swarm. So not only is he able to control his mech, he's able to control a major swarm of drones around him that can be used for scouting, attacking, all that good stuff. Even like blocking up like a shield in front of him, like kind of taking a hit. And his auxiliary ability is threat lock. So if Damon sees or is able to understand a threat, he can make it so that the drones are constantly locked on that threat at all times. So they never lose track of him, so that Damon is able to basically have eyes behind or in the back of his head, right? So I think that's kind of what I'm thinking there. And as far as like the overall look of it, I'm thinking something kind of like very sleek, darker colors. Like I'm gonna say like purples and reds and things like that, right? I'm trying to think of like a good correlation between that and that. Like I love Evangelion, so I'm thinking like a body like that, right? Something very sleek that way, but it has drones embedded in it, right? So like let's say like the chest cavity might open up and then like drones kind of spill out, right? So it looks very like thin and not that menacing, and then little hatches just open up and multiple drones can pop out, and that's his little drone swarm there. As far as the connection, it's going to be Sen Cashew. Sen Cashew is his older brother. I'm going to say there's a pretty big age gap there, about 18 years. I'm going to say there's an 18-year age gap there, which I know it sounds like a lot, but that's the same age gap I have between me and my little sister. So I'm going to say that Damon is an early recruit to the military there. He's doing good, but he made it through academy and everything like that, so he's still fairly fresh. But Sen Cashew is a general. And Sen is overprotective, but has always been better than Damon, right? So Damon's always been in the shadow of Sen, and a lot of people in the academy are already saying like, oh, the only reason why Damon is there is because Sen is the general, right? So there's a lot of like calls of favoritism, even though that is not the case. And the big brother is always, doing the overprotective thing, but it looks like he's trying to control, right? And not let Damon make his own decisions based off of that. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with my side there. So, yeah. I like our little areas. And I like that. So one cool thing about this is that we were both kind of creating this stuff on our own, drawing on the map at the same time. And we were able to actually make like a pretty cool connection between the two of them without that. So
yeah,
without any real like connect or talking there, all that good stuff. One year ago, the rift opened and the Kaiju attacked. It tore our cities apart, rampaging for days until we finally dropped the bomb. We killed the beast, but lost so much in the process. We knew this was only the beginning, so we built mechs, giant war machines, the pinnacle of human engineering, and our only hope for survival. The rift is reopening, more kaiju are coming, but this time, it will be different. Your home depends on you. Are you ready, pilot? So, I'd say, what happened, what area in your place got destroyed? Or what led up to those moments during the first initial strike before the bomb was dropped?
So for me, I think, when this destruction happened, I think kind of the place closest to where this kind of like opening would probably be the whole solar flare system.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was always kind of just there to be kind of like a surveillance thing, keep an eye on the other side of the world, but it kind of was like, it was important as like a defensive, like, reassurance of like, oh, this is the thing that's gonna make sure if anything happens, we have a weapon of total destruction. So, this getting knocked out right away really, it leaves it more to where, okay, now it's like, we gotta actually use people. We can't just rely on some like super weapon. And, yeah, it's like totally like basically the vibrations of this kind of shook the whole island it's on to the point where the island's like half underwater, basically.
Okay. So that area is like kind of inhabitable. Like no one is going out there anymore after that.
Yeah, it's not salvageable. Okay. Like even though it's outside of like the blockade, like, the ring basically of like destruction, it's like the after effects of it, like that area didn't hold up too well because I never thought it would really be, it prepared for like missiles and stuff, but it wasn't prepared for like a seismic kind of issue.
Right. That makes sense. All right. So for Aegis, for us, the area that got destroyed was obviously closest to the rift. And that is seismic base alpha. So I think that prior to the event of this happening, the tectonic readings or like the seismic readings in the area were just going crazy, right? All day. And no one was really understanding what was going on. The readings were not coming from Ironclaw. They weren't coming from the Aether mines like we usually are seeing. Like something new was happening, and it was a little too close to home to the seismic base. And through that, I think they were able to send out readings to Aegis, and that's why we're able to kind of like understand what to look out for when it comes to those things. And I think that's like our warning system now, right? Is the idea of because it was a really weird readings. It was very erratic. It wasn't just like a constant, like an earthquake. Like it didn't spike. It was like moving, like something was digging or moving through the land itself, right? And with that being so close, I think that what actually destroyed that base was the bomb itself. I think that with these readings, I think that they were sent back to Aegis. Aegis was talking to Valdir, since, closest ally right there, which and I think that it was like a joint attack of we need to do something. Something is happening here. We need to seal this off. Because we're not just seeing seismic readings anymore. Like the kaiju came out, right? Like we're seeing a peak of it, and it was just let's say like a giant claw coming out from the middle of the ocean, right? So drop the bombs, joint effort there. The bomb helped seal the rift a little bit, made it smaller. Seismic readings were going down, but the aftermath of the bomb actually dropping with the base being so close to the rift, I think it was just kind of destroyed with that initial attack there. So I think that it was just a little too close to the blast zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, what I will say, there are different options for if you guys are playing this game for what the rift is supposed to look like or what it can look like. We rolled the dice beforehand, and we got a break in reality. So I think one of the cool things about this rift is that I think being surveillance and like drones, right? I feel like Aegis has tried to send drones in there, but when they do, things get like kind of wonky and weird, right? Up becomes down, left becomes right. Things get glitched out. The visual feed of it just kind of becomes warped. Or since the drone pilots are kind of using their own consciousness in the drones, they're seeing other people's like viewpoints when they get too close, right? Like things are just glitching and being really weird and like creating like weird connections between minds that aren't actually connected, right? Maybe they're seeing the viewpoint of a different drone pilot that happens to be in the area as well, right? Like stuff is just getting kind of like wonky that way.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last year, right? Like both areas, I would say, are definitely trying to figure out a way to close this rift, right? Because the seismic readings are getting stronger every day. Things are just getting weird. The amount of aether or nether, as you call it, is spilling out from the area is definitely growing. And I think that it might be leading to another kaiju attack very soon here. So to prepare for this kaiju attack, I think that we need to figure out where your pilot is right now. Like, what are they doing? Like, introduce us to your pilot and what they're doing.
So right now, my pilot is actually trying to explore the abyssal forest. He
is that like a common thing for them?
No,
like
he just kind of wants to see what's out there because it's kind of like this place that's so mysterious, and this pilot is like, I want to see what's actually there. I want to maybe I'll find myself there. So they're there exploring this forest. They think they're suitable enough, and so they're kind of far away from the actual like incident right at the front. Kind of they've currently, like, after they became an adult, they moved away from Iron Claw, and now they live in Valdir. Like they kind of don't want to ever go back to the northern continent. They like the southern one more. So yeah, his goal now in life is to kind of just explore this forest and try to find the mysteries. But obviously that gets kind of twisted upside down.
Right. So you're focusing on research.
Yes.
Right now. Yeah. I like that. Just trying to find yourself. Going on like a little hiking trip. Right?
Exactly.
Like, exploring a nice little national park out there. I like that. Okay. I think that Damon right now, right before this attack going on, I feel like Damon he's at the Nix Institute. So he's in the Research Institute right now because he's working on something. Like he's in a training room, right? He's trying to figure out, like, because he is one of the only ones that has, like, he's not the only pilot that can do this, but he is one of the better ones at it of splitting his consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he's trying to figure out a way to better control it because it really wipes him out whenever he does it. So while yes, he can control the hive, I think that it's hard. It's hard on the mind to be able to fragment yourself that many times. So he's going through some really rigorous training, solo training, because of everyone thinking that Sen is the only reason why he's there, his older brother. So he's kind of like doing the whole like prove him wrong kind of thing, right? So I think that's where he's going to be currently right now. So let's say now Rift is opening up, seismic activity is going out like crazy. I would say that alarms are firing off on both sides for Aegis and Ironclaw, right? Like something is happening there. So how does Ironclaw respond? So right now we're going to be setting up a blockade, right? So how does Ironclaw respond to the spilling of nether, as you call it, or aether, as we call it, out from the rift itself?
Like, are they worried about it, kind of thing?
Yeah, did they send anyone out? Like, and this one we can draw on the map as well. So we're going to be setting up the blockade right now. So like,
Right.
it as a military base, like what, or as Ironclaw is, are they sending troops? What are they doing to help set up the blockade there?
So
Are they alerting Chor? That kind of thing.
basically Ironclaw, yes, they're fully in control of the situation. Valdir is kind of like holding back, kind of. They're trying to just settle, make sure everything is safe on the land. But Ironclaw is fully sending people over. They're diverting, right? They're sending a bunch of people to the energy storage facility, but they're also sending enough to definitely control the blockade on the northern side. So basically from the solar base's like wreckage northward. So the southern area of this blockade is still kind of
Open.
It's open, yes. There, even though the command center is to the south, it's not like it's as fortified as the northern spot. As for Chor is alerted of it, and he reluctantly heads over. So it's not like he's worried, but he's kind of like mad that he had to leave his journey. But obviously he's kind of freaked out.
I think as like for some world building, how does Chor get pinged? Like, is there like an AI companion? Is it like like what is it? Or like just like a cell phone call? Like how does he get notified if there's always like a faceless entity around them?
I think he has like a little hoverbot, not really like a drone, but it's like a little like it's like a little like ball that's floating constantly, has a little face on it. Trying to think of the name. Cute. Someone actually made like a toy of that like years ago where it kind of looked like a little face robot thing. But yeah, it's like this little companion that can like hover over his shoulder, and it like basically like in his armor there's like or his suit there's like a little like it looks like it can hold a little ball, and that's kind of where it's just perched on his shoulder, kind of like a pirate with a parrot.
Okay.
So that's kind of what it is. Funny. Like this little, like a lot of the people on this side of the world have it where their little, the companion is like basically attached to their shoulder and can fly out.
I like that. I'm gonna throw a thing out there. Maybe Aegis shared some of its drone tech with Valdir, and that's like maybe that's like commonplace in Aegis too. Like everyone has like a little companion dude, and it's starting to spread over to Valdir as well. And Chor's kind of adopted that because it is useful, right? An easy way to get like pinged by something, like a little AI companion with you at all times. Cool. So Chor's heading towards Valdir. Hearing about that, do you want to draw on the map the blockade front that they're trying to set up there? Okay. And while you're doing that, so what I'm thinking of for as soon as the alarms start going off, right? Damon is in the research institute, so he's hearing the alarms firing off while he's in the training room. So he's there. He's like, oh no, like okay, like get to battle stations, right? Luckily, his mech is in the facility. He doesn't go too far away from it because there's like that mental connection there. And so like it just feels weird not being close to it, right? It's like a friend. So he's there. He's jumping into his mech. He's gathering all of his resources, and I would say that they are starting to send out scout drones across the blockade. These ones are larger drones that do have a way to attack if necessary, but really it's just mostly scouts that are hopping out right now to go to the blockade just to see what's going on. So I think that is what they're going to be. I think that makes the most sense right now. So I'll do some little guys out here. So I'm going to do some little, I think that they're sending it directly from the research institute, right? So we're going to have some drones going out there. They're going to be surveilling and trying to figure out what is happening in the area itself. So I think that, yeah, they're just kind of on the other side of your blockade. We have unmanned pilots that are there trying to figure out what's going on, and Damon is hopping into his mech to rush out there as soon as possible. Okay, so now that we know what our pilots are doing and what each nation has done to set up a blockade from the rift, it is now time for our pilots to actually do some preparation. So there's a couple things here. We're going to do 3 different steps of preparation and roll some dice to see how the outcomes of those things. But then we're also going to be doing one last scene with our connection before the actual fight with the kaiju, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way that the preparation scenes work in home is that there are certain ones that you can decide from. There's certain actions that you can do, and you might get an upgrade based off of the upgrade system that is built into the class that you picked. Like, for instance, Chris is the Enforcer, right? So I believe, yeah, if you build an outpost, which is build a new base in this route for military research or communication purposes, you would get an extra dice, an extra boon dice to your initial roll to see if it was a success or not. So that is, I think, and for me, it's study the kaiju. So basically doing recon, observing patterns, and analyzing evidence that is left behind, then I would get an extra boon for that because of my playbook that I decided to pick. We're going to do 3 different preparation moves. I think for this, just to make sense of it and just make it a little bit easier so we're not kind of gaming the system, I think that we need to pick 3 different preparation moves. So out of the 6 that are available, so there's study the kaiju, rally the people, build an outpost, unite the nations, search the aether, or gear up, right? And so I think that's what we're going to be doing for those ones. So, and I think it'll be nice to do like a nice little like scene for each one of those guys too. See how that goes. So, what's your first step for preparation? And then we'll go through the nice little dice rolls after that.
Because I already have a command center, I will do build an outpost because that just makes most sense.
It's fitting for the enforcers, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'll throw it on the map. I'm gonna throw it on the northern. So basically, where the blockade is up for the Iron Claw, it's on the other side of the sea. On the northern end, so it's like just outside of the blockade, and it keeps an eye on the corner of the island and is like right on the edge of the blockade, basically.
Okay. Perfect. So for that then, so the way that this works, the first time you do a preparation, we have 1 dice. But since you are doing the one that gives you a nice little, or using your upgrade, you get to roll 2 boon dice to start. And then depending on that roll, we'll see what you get. So let's have you roll your 2 dice and see what happens.
I got a 5 and a 2.
Yeah, so with a 5 and a 2, that means that you get a boon and a bane. The way that you mark that on your sheet, right here in the second slot, you're going to do a circle and a upside down V, just to kind of simulate that. And in the command center, is there anyone of note being sent out there? Grizzle General or anything like that?
Senator Newcastle.
Senator Newcastle's out there? Hell yeah. He wants to be on the front line, except for it's an election year. So
he thinks that going out on the front line is going to make everyone respect him. Dumbass.
Yeah, idiot. All right. Let's do this so that we go back and forth with these preparations. I think that'll be nice. So then we can both just do the kaiju thing at the same time, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for my first set of preparation there, I think I'm going to follow the same suit. I'm going to do study the kaiju because that is my upgrade with the Research Institute. And that makes sense, right? So I have drones that are currently out there. Let's say that Damon has made it to the head center of the research center. He's talking to Dr. Nix themselves. Dr. Nix is kind of like in charge of the facility there, right? And they are witnessing what's going on the front lines. So there's some drones that are there currently, and they are going to be sending out some more to measure some more of the seismic readings, and they're getting a little close. They're going to the seismic base there, trying to figure out exactly what's happening, trying to get a good read on how powerful this kaiju is or how imminent the threat actually is. All right. I got a 4 and a 2. So similar to you, because I got that 4. That means that I get a boon and a bane for that as well. What would be your next action here?
The problem is, though, we don't have any of those other things, though, right? So it's not like there's any bonuses.
There's no bonuses. Basically, what you're going to do now, because we both have a similar board right now, right? So the next time we roll, now we roll 2 boon dice and 1 bane dice. The way that this works with the dice rolling is that if your bane dice matches either one of your boon dice, then that one gets removed from play and you're left over with what's left over. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say you have a 6 and a 2 on your boon dice, but then you roll a 6 on your bane dice. That means that you just get a 2.
Gotcha.
And you have to take whatever comes from that. Yeah. So now it's, what action are you going to be performing? And then like, how does your town react?
I think we unite the nations.
How does that look? What are you doing to unite the nations?
Basically trying to form a strategic coalition between Ironclaw and Valdir, and because Valdir is friendly to, you guys over there, Aegis, trying to send the word over there being like, hey, let's all like collectively try to quarantine this, basically, trying to, okay. Because we have a lot of like the northern side, it's kind of like, okay, we need to unite and really kind of like block off the southern parts so nothing really gets destroyed down there.
I like it. So it's like Newcastle over there on like doing a broadcast across the world.
Yeah, he's like, I'm here right now.
What does
right
Newcastle
outside.
sound like? Yeah.
He kind of sounds like, what's a good person to have a voice of? He kind of sounds like, so imagine this old, kind of slightly overweight, balding old man. He has a lot of energy for his age, but his voice doesn't match his image.
Okay.
He kind of sounds like, how about, imagine the high pitchedness of a minion, but he has like this like scratchy kind of like the way he ends words, almost like almost thinking like Tom Waits, like the Rain Dogs album, where he has that really like kind of voice like that.
So it's like high pitched and then it goes to that.
Yeah, it's like,
so he's like he's putting on a major performance.
This guy, people love him.
Hello,
because
the people, right?
Exactly. There you go. But he speaks kind of fast like a minion. I guess that's what I meant.
Okay. So he's like jumbling words and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Is there like a rallying? What's like his big rally ending? Like does he have like a? I don't want to say that like, how like politics have taglines. I don't want to say the one that's currently in place. You know what I mean? But like,
no tears for Valdirians. No tears for Valdirs.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. So that's how he ends. No tears for Valdirs, right? Like,
yeah, because nothing ever bad happens to us because we're so great.
Right. Yeah. No, there is nothing wrong with the area at all.
Exactly.
This isn't even real, this kaiju attack. Yeah. Okay. So for this, yeah, so you're gonna roll 2 boon and 1 bane dice. So yeah, basically just rolling 3 dice, just whatever the last one is, that's gonna be your bane dice.
Oh, I roll 3 dice this time?
Yes, 3 dice this time. 3.
2, 1, and 4.
2, 1, and 4. Yikes. Oh boy. Okay, so this is actually a good thing. Kind of. Not really. But you can do a thing to actually help this real quick. So you can do a special move, right? So you can improvise right now. So after any roll, envision how you improvise, and you can re-roll 1 boon dice. Or
Okay.
you can remember while you fight. After any roll, you can envision a brief memory, and you can re-roll all dice. Or I think team up makes more sense. Remember while you fight and team up might make more sense for like actually mech battles. But you could improvise right now. You can use any one of these guys. It's under the special moves tab if it makes sense for you.
I'm down to do the. Wait, what page is that on? Special moves. There we go. I'm gonna detonate core.
Yeah.
Just give up automatically. And the guy I'm done.
Hasn't even fucking showed up yet.
Just detonated Senator Newcastle. Let's see. Improvise seems kind of messed up, so I'm gonna do. Maybe remember why you fight.
Yeah, I think so. So like, let's say maybe okay. So since you had a pretty big failure there with Newcastle's speech, how do people respond to Newcastle in general? Are they like? It doesn't sound like they're really into this guy, right?
No one really likes him because he's always looking out for himself. He'd be willing to go against your continent and take your ether mine. You know, he thinks you shouldn't have all that power. He thinks you shouldn't have those drones.
So I guess like everyone's like, oh, this blowhard again. Like everyone's getting distracted. Like more, they're kind of forgetting like what is actually happening right now. The fact that there's a potential kaiju attack on the that's coming, and everyone's like, what is this guy doing? You know, like everyone is just like really pissed off at this guy. So what's the act that brings everyone back to focus here of like, we need to focus? Is there someone else in charge that speaks up, or is it Chor, right? Like, is there someone that stands up and rallies the people?
I don't think Chor is the kind of guy that would be out there trying to lead and do that. I think there's this other senator, or no, not a senator. There's a governor, and I think this governor name goes by
Ed Sheeran. No,
no, it goes by
Logan Paul. No,
no, it's Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
It goes by Governor Seuss.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at
rhymes.
I'm looking at a Dr. Seuss book over on the shelf right now. And I'm like, yeah,
That's perfect.
Governor Seuss.
Yeah, I like it. He's whimsical.
He's whimsical. I'll think of the places we can go.
I would say that Governor Seuss sounds like he's in charge of Valdir.
He is,
right?
He's whimsical. Yeah, okay. He's caring.
Yeah. His messages are confusing, but they always have a good way of ending.
Yeah. He's the kind of person we need in the world right now.
Yeah. All right. So Governor Seuss comes on the speaker, basically on the feed after Newcastle had his brief, 5 minutes of ridiculousness, and tries to rally the people again. So you can, with that one, you can re-roll all of your dice and see what you get this time. So you can roll your 3 dice again.
Oh, this is better. 5, 4, 5.
Ooh, okay. So with that,
shit,
though,
one's a bane. Oh no, it's even worse.
So the last dice is the 5, right? So your 5 gets removed, but you get a 4 again, which means that you get another boon and a bane.
Great.
So
okay.
it's better than nothing, right?
That's
I'd say
true.
that, and that makes sense, right?
God
Because
damn it,
of
Dr. Seuss.
Newcastle kind of effed you there a little bit. So at least Seuss was able to bring it back just a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny, actually. All
Yeah,
right. So perfect. Okay. I think that I'm going to gear up.
Okay.
So gear up is gear up your mechs with extra weapons, auxiliary systems, and an upgraded frame. And then I don't have the manufacturing facility, so that's it. So I think with the gear up, what I'm going to do is in the research in the in the Nix Institute, everyone's getting ready, right? The seismic readings are getting off the charts now. We're actually starting to see a slight visual of something kind of creeping out through there, but the drones are having a really hard time relaying any information back to the nation because the feeds just keep getting messed up, right? Because the whole glitch in reality thing. So I think that Nix is going to go to some of the pilots, and they are going to actually install a new optics meter that was not there originally because of the whole glitch in reality thing. So we've been working on some dark matter optics. So I'm going to get added that auxiliary system to my mech here. So I already have threat lock, and now we're going to have the dark matter optics as well, because hopefully that allows us to see things that in there that we weren't able to see before. Okay. And then I am going to roll my dice and see what I get for this one. Another 3 dice here. Let's see. I got okay, that's fun. I got 3 4s. So
Wow.
one of those is a bane, so obviously one of my 4s gets removed, but I'll take it. I think that makes sense. I think that's fine. Because these have not been tested. We don't know if they'll actually work, right? So I'll also have a boon and a bane added to my list. So we both have 5 dice now. 3 boons, 2 banes, and I guess we'll see what happens going on. So you have 1 more preparation left. What are you going to do for your final preparation?
I think we are going to rally the people. Why not?
Okay, I like it. So what does that look like?
Governor Seuss is out there telling the people, hey, like, this is scary. We need to do something. Like, we need to get the forces. Iron Claw needs to stop hoarding everything and send some more defenses to the southern edge because it's kind of more vulnerable down there. And but he's also keeping it kind of whimsy. He's ending at everything with a rhyme, as he does, and he's just trying to keep it happy. Like, unlike Newcastle, who is saying we need to eradicate whatever is in this hole and maybe let it spill over on the Western Hemisphere a little bit too, because why not? Newcastle's not a good guy. He wants that chaos. He wants the other side to not really know what's happening. If he had his way, he probably would try to bomb the other island. But he's rallying his people too, right? So I mean, they're just rallying in different ways. He's trying to rally people to be on the defense, whereas Seuss is rallying people for hope.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Oh gosh, like I feel like that Aegis would be like kind of harping on that message as well, right? And trying to like join in. Honestly, if you want to do a team up, I feel like that would make sense. Because I feel like after Dr. Seuss's speech, Governor Seuss's speech, like, we don't like this kaiju attack. Don't give us any flack, whatever the hell, right? Then I feel like Aegis would be jumping in and being like, yes, like we need to come together right now. Like, these readings are terrifying. They're larger than what we dealt with before. But it's up to you if you want to use that, because you can only use it once per front. But I feel like it makes sense, and it would give you an extra boon dice. So
Yeah, a team up's good.
okay, I like it. So yeah, I would say that Nix from the Science Institute is listening in and joining that, right? Giving a little thumbs up on your Instagram live feed, and everyone's noticing that Nix did that, and is giving you the support, making sure that everyone knows what's going on. So it's going to give you an extra boon dice, which means that you're going to actually roll a total of 6 dice. Your last 2 dice are going to be your bane dice. So you have 4 boons and 1 bane to roll.
Okay, so I got a 6, 2, 3, 1, 5, 3.
Okay, so that's really good. You got a 6. So that's an automatic boon right there. So you just get a +1 boon, because your bane dice do not remove anything.
Okay.
Of note, at least.
So
right?
what do I draw?
There's a circle in the last slot there, and that is your boon. So that means that you're going to be going into the final fight with 4 boon dice and 2 bane dice for your showdowns.
Easy.
Against the kaiju. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. That's really good. It's not a bad way to start there. All right, so let's see. I think just to show off everything, I'm going to do the last preparation that we can do that we haven't done yet, right? And that way we'll have all 6 out there. I'm going to search the Aether. And I think that makes sense, right? So I think that because everything is so research focused and we've been reading the seismic materials, all that good stuff, we're trying to figure out what's going on here. I think that we have some researchers that are in the Aether mines, trying to get more concrete seismic readings of what's happening there, because they want to see if everything is connected in any sort of way. And I'm going to say that with each pulse that's coming from the rift, the Aether is being manipulated, or it's reacting even this far away in the mines. I'm going to say that things are starting to kind of glitch out in the mines a little bit. It's subtle, right? It's just like a little, like, you know how like buffering, but it's like a 1 second buffer in the area.
Yeah.
So people are being affected by this thing, and they're noticing that. So that means that some of the power is kind of coming out that way. So I think that's what we're going to do there. All right, so I think with that, so that means that I roll 5 dice, just like you did, 3 boons, 2 banes. Let's see what we get. Let's see here. It's too many dice. I'm not rolling 98. All right, here we go. So I got a 1, a 6, a 1, a 2, and a 2. So my boon dice are 1, 6, 1. My bane dice are 2 and 2, which leaves me with a 6 as well. So that means that I also get just 1 straight up boon right there. So we're both in the same exact spot leading into this first kaiju fight. So it's looking pretty good. Cool. All right, so before we introduce our kaiju and discuss what that actually looks like, you get the opportunity to have one last interaction, and this could possibly be the final interaction with your connection. So how would you like to play out that scene?
So Chor reaches out to this kind of like his little bot right on his shoulder, because that, at the end of the day, that is the nameless, they're the faceless being, and it's become like, I guess, to put it in the most modern perspective of what we could think of it, it's kind of like, imagine if you became best friends with ChatGPT or something, right? Claude is your friend, and
maybe that's what he calls it, is Claude. That's its name.
We should just call it Claude, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Claude's a cool name. Why not?
Yeah.
And so this little buddy, but it's obviously is more sympathetic. Like it's an AI that's kind of become sentient to an extent. Like it does have a framework where it can't go too far into being almost like a human, but it can empathize. It's like the one trait it can do. But so it Chor is talking to Claude and basically, worried and angry because, he was in the middle of that expedition into the forest and thought he was actually making some ground because he saw kind of like sigils, and it looks like from a bygone civilization, right? There's some ruins there that he wanted to explore because he thought, there was energy pouring out of these ruins, right? The nether energy. And he wanted to go in, but when he got the alert, he was like, okay, well, I guess I got to go, right? Because if you don't go, your location is shared and you will get in trouble, right? You'll be imprisoned. So basically, he had to leave, and he's talking to his buddy saying like, hey, we're going to get through this. When we're done, we're going to find out what's in this forest, basically.
I like that. It's kind of a little cliffhanger there for the next zone. So hopefully Chor survives this endeavor. I like that a lot. That's good. And how does Claude respond? I'm curious. Does Claude have like its own personality? Like each person's Claude is different, or is it like
so it's kind of like
AI?
how with ChatGPT you can kind of select like how it talks to you. You know how it's like professional.
Do you have it set to talk like Alfred from Batman?
God, I have it where it talks to me like a minion. There you go. No, it's it's
like Bane. It's this little cute thing, but it talks like Bane.
That's just all it is. You can do Bane or Darth Vader are your only two choices. And now it has like 30 different presets of different voice modulations you can do, but his sounds kind of like, I think it kind of sounds like a cheerful, youthful C-3PO. Almost like imagine
I like that
C-3PO's voice, but if it was like maybe like a 10-year-old. So it's kind of like happy, cheery, very anime-ish kind of pitch, I guess.
I like that a lot. That's awesome. All right, so I think that Damon is gearing up. Right, he's ready. They just installed the new dark matter optics, and he's about to jump into his mech. He's, staring at it in the hangar. He's having that last little moment, right? Where like I'm imagining the hangar being like full on Evangelion style, right? Where they have like the platform at face level, so you're able to like stare your bot in the face, and he just staring, right? And knowing like this is it. This is what we've been training for. This is finally what's going to be happening. And Damon is, skeptical. He's a little afraid because it's the first like real attack, right? It's been a year of training, but this is the first time that they're actually being sent out for any actual combat. And I think Sen shows up, his older brother, and tells him, why are you suited up? Or he asks him that question. He's like, why are you suited up? And he's like, well, I have to go, right? Like this is the reason why we've done this. And I think Sen is trying to tell him that like, you're not going, right? Like it's not necessary. Nothing has come out of the rift yet. Do not get into that robot, right? Like this isn't, you are not allowed to pilot the hive. He's trying to, he's doing the overprotective thing, but he's doing it he's showing he cares, but in the wrong way, right? He's being a little aggressive about it, trying to be, be forceful with his brother and stop him from actually like getting into the hive. But Damon goes against it, right? He's like, no, I'm absolutely like, you cannot stop me from doing this. This is what I trained for. This is the whole reason I'm the only pilot right now that can handle this, right? So he ends up getting into the bot, and Sen, his older brother, just kind of stares idly by, and there's that like unspoken word between them, right? Like I think that Damon knows that Sen just cares, but neither one of them can really like say it, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just this unspoken thing between them where like he's just fearful that he doesn't want to lose his brother over this. He doesn't. He'd rather send millions of drones out there to try and handle this threat than have one that than have his brother actually go out there and face something unknown, right? Because we don't know what is going to be happening here. So I think that's the final scene between his brother and him. No words exchanged, really, just besides some slight anger and resentment towards his older brother, which could bite him in the ass at the end, because hopefully Damon survives this, but you never know, and those words will never be spoken out loud. So, yeah. All right, so now is the time. Now is the time to actually create our little kaijus here. So in the way that the kaiju stuff works out in this game, just to give you guys a little bit of information, there is a page on the PDF that they have provided for this game on kaiju. It's pretty cool, but you can make up your own if you really want to, or you can roll dice to create, select a category, a name, and a trait. And then just kind of envision what the kaiju is going to look like itself. And the way that this works is that like I'm going to be creating one for Chris, and Chris is going to be creating one for me. And then whenever the kaiju fight actually happens, Chris is going to decide where the kaiju fight happens, and I'm going to decide where my kaiju fight happens, right? So it kind of works out that way. It's a different kind of system, but it is interesting. And then we'll storyboard out exactly what that looks like after that. So let's see what these kaiju look like. All right, so it is time to reveal those wonderful kaijus that we have for us. So since we designed each other's kaijus, right, do you want to explain the kaiju that I'm going to be facing or Damon's going to be facing?
Yeah, so the kaiju is named Rakinar, and basically it is a primal beast, so it's kind of more organic, right? Older kind of feel to it. Like it doesn't really have like anything like mutant about it. It's more like what you would maybe consider like an old god kind of thing.
Okay.
But it's a burrowing, tunneling kind of beast, so it's underground. Think of it as like a gigantic kind of like, what would you call that? It's not a mole, it's more like a Komodo dragon, but it's got like earthy like spikes on it, and like it's gigantic, but it mostly
so kind of like on its belly, shorter limbs, kind of thing. Yeah. And I think that with all these kaiju, I think based off of the magic of the ether and things like that, I'd say they all have like a glowing core, right?
Yeah.
Like very, very Pacific Rim to do that. And then I think that something kind of fun, I feel I feel like that glitch effect of the reality breaking kind of follows them a little bit.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I think that'll be pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to be fighting a Rakinar, and then Chris will be fighting what is called Hookmouth. Hookmouth is in the category of adapted, and its trait is panic-inducing. So it is able to cause mass hysteria and fear amongst people that see it or are around it. So I'm imagining like this crazy monstrosity horror, right? Hookmouth obviously has like giant beaked mouth kind of thing going on, but I'm thinking that from its mouth and from like it has like an armor plating kind of deal, right? But there's like gaps in the armor plating where just this constant haze or miasma is leaking out at all times. And I think that if you breathe in that miasma, that is what the panic-inducing trait comes from. So it's just like a kind of like pheromones, right? But you can visually see them because it's just such a menacing purple cloud in anime style, right? You gotta be able to see that stuff. So, all right. So I'm going to go first just so we can kind of see what combat's going to look like. And so to begin, where is my pilot right now? My pilot is at the Nyx Institute. He is gearing up to go. He is in he is in the hive. He just had his little encounter with Sen, his older brother, and he is ready to fight. Now, where Rankanar is heading towards, because of the tunneling aspect, actually, I think that is perfect for our storytelling. So great with that. But I think Rankanar is actually heading towards the Aether Mines. I think that they are heading towards the largest collection of Aether that is besides the rift itself, right? Like they are just drawn to that. They are ignoring everything around them and just tunneling towards these mines. They have emerged at like maybe I'd say to the west or the left of the seismic base that was destroyed, that little island there. And that is where we get first visual contact. The drones that are in the area in that blockade that we're doing some scouting beforehand, they are relaying as many messages or images of the beast that we possibly can. But it's not very clear. It's not 100% clear. And some people are not getting like a full understanding of exactly what they're looking at. The drones that are there do not have the dark matter optics. So it is just based off of like the feed is getting a little messed up, right? So Damon rushes out. Luckily the Nyx Institute is not too far. He is rushing towards battle there, and he encounters Rankanar at the site of the seismic base, the first area that was actually destroyed beforehand. I think that the dark matter optics are allowing him to see the kaiju very clearly for what it is, like noticing that there are no glitch effects happening, which is kind of nice, right, for this battle. That way that the drones are not going to be all messed up. So the first thing he does as he makes his final approach is that all the hatches on his suit or on the mech suit kind of pop open real fast. And I'm going to say like a couple hundred, right? Just drones spill out, each one having its own like beam of light on it. So it's this nice little like reddish purple glow. And they are all hovering around the hive. It is like I'm thinking kind of like it for visual, right? When it first pops out, it kind of looks like, like drone light shows and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like popping out like that, but it looks like just a cape of just drones behind him because he still has forward momentum where he's rushing through and the drones are popping out behind and then being activated after the fact. So it's like a full cape of that stuff coming out of him real quick. And then I think the first thing that he does is after making visual contact, is able to actually send very clear images of what they're looking at. He sets up for his first attack. And I think that the first attack, since primary weapons is the drones, is going to be a multi-laser attack. So it's kind of like he sends the drones in like a circle pattern around Rankanar and just fires, unloads hundreds of little beams. It's like a death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? No one beam is like insanely powerful. Like I don't think it's like a crazy big plasma blast, but when you get hundreds of them in the mix, like it's going to do some damage, right? So with our preparations and the way that this works, I am going to be rolling 6 dice. I have 4 boon dice and 2 bane dice for this first showdown here. So let's see what happens. So I got my 6 dice set up. My last 2 are going to be my bane dice. I have a 3, a 6, a 3, and a 2 for my boons, and then a 5 and a 4 for my banes. Luckily for me, that means I got a 6. And because I got a 6, that means that the kaiju loses 1 health. So that means that I have actually successfully hit the kaiju, which is great. Kaijus in this first area, they have 3 health. So we have to hit them 3 times for that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to mark off 1 health for this guy right now. And then so each round, the kaiju can either push forward or push back. I think because I successfully hit him and he didn't do any damage to me, I didn't get any negatives there. I think I'm going to have it where Rankanar kind of like, he's not making forward progress, right? He's still like, but he's now steadily on the island of the seismic base, right? So I don't think that he's able to continue to push forward. I feel like if he damaged me, then I think he would be able to make some forward momentum. Because even though I am attacking, his focus is still on the mines, like in
Right.
that general direction, right? So I think we're gonna stick around there. Now for the next attack, I think that what we're gonna do here is another cool little trick with some lights and all that good stuff. I think that the hive, the way it's gonna work, the drones pop back, right? The ones that just did the beam, there might be like a cooldown on them because that's kind of a big attack to do right off the bat. The ones that were not a part of that initial circle beam, because he always keeps a few behind, he grabs two of them, and then like the beams come out of like the little lights there, and it's like two beam sabers, right? From these drones. So he has two in his hands, and he goes and he does like a cool little like X slice attack at Rankinar. And then I'm gonna roll my dice again and see what I get this time. So I got a 3, a 6, and a 5 for my boon dice, and a 2 and a 3 for my bane dice. Those threes get knocked out, but doesn't matter because I got a 6 and a 5 there, which means that the kaiju loses 1 health once again. So, which is pretty great. I think anytime you get a 6, it's always based off the highest boon. So I just did another damage to him. And then I think I'm just going to continue pushing him back a little bit. Things are looking pretty good for Damon right now, right? So Kaiju is down to 1 health remaining, and my mech is looking pretty good. And I think that, I don't know, I feel like it's still just right here, right? No forward progress for Rankinar. Things are looking pretty good. I think that because Hive is agile and Rankinar is a little large and more tunneling, shorter limbs, it's hard for him to kind of keep up. So I feel like Hive is kind of staying behind Rankinar, right? So out of range of any potential attacks, because the beast is strong, but it's slower because of the whole tunneling thing and like the physical makeup of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, let's see what happens. Hopefully, I take it out this round. We're gonna roll some dice and see. Another 6 dice, and I got no. Okay, so I got a 3, a 6 again, a 2, and a 3, but my Bane dice are a 6 and a 3, which means that my highest boon right now would be a 3. Okay, so I think that right now for this attack, I feel like we're going in, we're getting a little close range. I feel like maybe Hive jumped on its back and it's trying to do like a downward, like actual stab attack, right? But then Rankinar's tail comes up and tries to swipe at Hive real quick. And I think that, let's see, I can either, I might want to improvise. Oh man, I don't know if I really want to. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to improvise. So I think that what's going to happen is that the tail's coming up and it's about to swipe at Hive, right? That's on his back. He's about to do the downward thrust. But because Hive has all the drones and the surveillance and everything like that, then he sees the tail coming and kind of ducks out of the way and goes in for another strike. Improvise allows me to reroll 1 of my dice. So I'm going to reroll that 3 that I had. And I got a 6. Hell yeah. So with that dodge, so Tails comes swiping right over the Hive's head, ducks down because you can see it with the drones that are around, right? He ducks down, ducks out of the way, and because of that, you get like a better angle at the side, or like the nice little softer underbelly of Rankinar, and he just stabs right through that core and takes out Rankinar. All right, so yeah, Hive is successful with his actual attack. He's defended his little area here, and Rankinar's actually, it's kind of fitting. So Rankinar has been destroyed, and his remains are on this island where the original seismic base Alpha was. So the body's just going to be there. Potentially an area for, information, studying, all that good stuff, because when we've never had a chance to check out kaiju remains beforehand. But after the battle, that was a lot. It was very fast paced, and like I said, the splitting your consciousness between that many different drones, that many different viewpoints is definitely taking it out of Hive and out of Damon. So I think what happens is that with that final strike, Damon passes out. I think as he's delivering the final strike, he passes out due to exhaustion, and his brain is like kind of a little frazzled. It's too much stimulation all at once to take in. So as the kaiju, the light in its core dims out, I think that the lights on the Hive slowly go out, and he's just there on top of the corpse of Rankinar as like a statue-esque look kind of thing happening, right? But the kaiju has been defeated, and all the drones kind of just drop from the air because everything kind of shut down with Damon passing out before he can get them all back into the Hive itself. So, yeah. Hell yeah. I killed the kaiju, man.
Damn. Here's hoping I do good.
All right, let's see what you got. What's the initial... Like, paint this picture, man.
All right, so I'm trying to think of the name. Hook's Mouth is basically it starts on the eastern side, right? Like there's an island west of where the solar flare shield was that was destroyed, and basically this kaiju popped out kind of on that island and is heading towards the nether energy storage, right? Because it's being drawn to it, right? Like
similar. Okay, yeah.
Like it's thinking, this is a feeling I know. It has no awareness that there's like, blockades or like there's an outpost to the north of it. It's just energy. I'm gonna go towards it, and so it's it's causing panic among the blockade that's there. And it's people are starting to realize like, oh, this thing is actually kind of scary. Like it's people in our blockade are starting to kind of like go away because they're being, the stuff that's coming off of it is kind of freaking people out. And for Chor,
the original blockade that's there, are they like dipping, like are they trying to run away from this, like letting it pass,
So yeah, because of the pheromone that it gives off, like the southern blockade are not moving, right? Because they're really in no danger. They're kind of just hanging out. But the immediate blockade that's right near the old solar flare shield, because half the island is underwater, right? And the remaining blockade are just kind of positioned all around what's left of that land. And as this creature is starting to cruise across it, they're starting to be like, oh, we probably should leave this island, right? Like, so the blockade north by the water blocking the outpost and, Senator Newcastle, like, safe up there. But the immediate, like, basically the straightforward path to the energy storage, people are starting to get freaked out. And as for Chor, Chor was in the forest, which is totally southeast of everything. And he's making his way up. He's flying through Valdir. He sees that the people in Valdir are freaked out. They're freaked out, but they're living their lives, right? Like, it's kind of like they hear of the news, but they don't feel any threat, basically. Right. They're kind of writing it off as like, oh, it's going towards Iron Claw. And, still trying to provide aid, but they're fine, right? So Chor makes his way up. He lands on half the land where the blockade are fleeing, and he's kind of getting an idea of the situation that's going on, right? So he's looking at Hook's Mouth and it's thinking like, okay, what can I do? Because obviously this guy has this panic-inducing mist about him. Thankfully, like the outfit that Chor is in, it doesn't really bother him. It just becomes more of a fog of war kind of thing, where if it's like really like kind of pumping the stuff out, it's kind of like a fog. almost. And like this
Or is it like kind of like
purple.
limiting the amount of fear, right? Like, like if he's in there too long, maybe he might get
Yeah, if he's
affected,
in
kind of
there
thing.
too
Yeah.
long, I would say, because in this mech suit they have oxygen tanks and stuff, so it's not going to affect them too much. And like those soldiers that were kind of fleeing the blockade, they're people that are just either not in mech suits, like right, they're like ground soldiers manning like
Yeah.
missile trucks and stuff. So they're succumbing to the fear, but the people in mechs, like, they're waiting. And so Chor is there, he's getting ready, he pulls out a scythe, and he's kind of thinking like, should I like, roll up as a ball, or should I just be fully prepared, ready to strike right away? And he realizes like, no, I should strike because it's starting to freak out these people launching missiles, which is, backup support. So he goes in for the attack, and let's roll some dice, yeah?
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, so
you got 6 dice, just like me.
6 dice. All right, so I'm going to roll my first.
Last 2 are Bane.
Right, I'm going to roll my first 4. I got a 6, 4, 4, 2. And then now, let's do 3 and a 5.
Nice. So you got a 6. So that's 1 damage, man.
Sweet.
So how do you do the damage? What was the...
So to get initially over there quick enough, he grapples onto him, right? Hook shots right to the skin, kind of like right below the thigh of it, right? Because obviously this creature's mouth is its strength. And it, off its back, it kind of has these kind of like hooks also. But so Chor latched onto this creature's thigh, goes up with the scythe, starts slashing, and actually kind of destabilizes it a little bit, where it's like it's slower moving. And it can still move, but it's just slower, right? The thing with this creature is that it can jump. So it's, it being able to jump kind of negates what I just did, but he's still damaged by it. And so he, he's coming at me trying to swing, and yeah. So because I didn't get hit, I'm flying around, and as Hookmouth kind of gets closer to the island, right? Like it's slowly still making its way over to where the old solar flare shield was. It's slowed down, right? The blockade, it's still pumping out these pheromones, so a lot of people have kind of like fleed to the end of the island because, it's not like they can just readily leave, like they're trying to get on their boats and leave. Of course, some of them have gotten destroyed by this creature. And, but the blockade is doing a pretty good job holding him off. So, I'm pulling out my scythe. I realize, okay, I'm close in quarters with this guy already. I can run around him. Maybe I climb up his back off the hooks. And what if I just go in for the kill, right? Why can't I not just go in, maybe try to get a slash at its like head, right? A little imagery for, what I'm looking at, right? It's like a big old jaw, kind of like a crow or a bird, and it's got multiple little eyes on top. And I'm trying to go for its eyes right now.
Nice. Yeah.
So, I'm getting my dice going, getting my scythe ready for these eyeballs. And let's see, we got... Oh my god. I think this might be my best roll yet. Watch it get canceled. We got a 5, 6, 4, 3.
That's really good. So if hopefully that 6 doesn't get canceled out.
Let's see. 1 and a 5.
Nice. So that's another 1 damage to the kaiju and no damage to you.
Thank God. I was a little worried there. I'm like, this is too good to be true, man. I'm going to get hit.
I know. We both are doing pretty good so far.
I know. I'm like, oh, man. So I'm able to slash all of its left eyes. basically, right?
Yeah.
So it's got 4 eyes on each side, and I was able to slash off, the whole left side. So it's pretty impaired. It's still walking, right? Like it's kind of like how in Shadow of the Colossus, you're hitting it, but it's still moving, right? Like you're still kind of like, this is how I'm looking at this kind of game in general. Is like, it's kind of like Shadow of the Colossus, where, you have your weapons and you're taking on these big dudes, but they still can move, as you're hitting them. So, I might have knocked out its eyes. So it's leaning off the path of the storage facility, and it's starting to make its way northward because it's like, I should probably try to get away kind of thing. It's still trying to fight me off, but it's becoming more where it's trying to create waves in the water, where it's trying to create floods for the region. There's not really any towns that would be affected by it. There is the outpost to the north, which is kind of where this is going a little bit. But it's no immediate threat, right? It's not like if I get hit and he lives on this next fight, then, he's going to be inching towards Newcastle in the outpost. So now my main goal
is not that big of a deal. Maybe
it's
that
not.
Might be for the best.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, maybe I should take a hit, let it go up there. But it's chores. It's less about he cares about killing this thing to save the country. It's more like, I want to test my strength, my ability to take something like this down. Right? Like he's a little freaked out by it, but he knows, he's like, you know what? I'm winning this. I got this. Let's take this down. He doesn't know about you taking anything down. He's like, oh man, I must be like the first person to take one of these down. Like I'm going to do this kind of thing. And, he knows about the storage, the energy storage. So he's like, I'm trying to divert it away from that. We're trying to bring it northward to the ground because, I'm running out of fuel on my jetpack, and now we're heading into the water. So we're trying to get it closer to the land. Hopefully we can take this out with a final blow. So we're going in for the jugular, right? Because it's a big old hook mouth. Why don't we just try to cut its whole head off with this scythe?
Yeah.
Right? Try to get it so it's a big old jaw just flies off. So we're going. He's getting a little bit closer to the beach. But I'm still in the air, so I need to kill this thing fast, or I'm gonna be slightly in trouble here. All right, so we got 4 die. Okay, we got a 5, 5, 4, 2.
That's pretty good rolls.
And we got a 5 and a 2.
Okay, so one of your 5s gets taken out, but you take the highest, so you still get a 5.
Okay.
Right. But what that does mean
does it also take off the 2? Because there's a 2 also.
Yeah, but it all just depends on what the highest is.
Oh, okay.
Right. So your highest card right now, or your highest die right now, is the 5, which means that the kaiju does lose 1 health, but your mech also loses 1 health.
No.
But
it's dead.
It's dead. So you're still good. You've killed the kaiju, man.
It looks better that way that I took a hit, right? Doesn't make me look perfect. So
yeah, exactly. So you got a little nick there at the end. Got a little reckless in there. But it makes sense, right? I mean, you were just jumping towards its face.
Yeah, it's like, because I had slashed off its eye, I kind of got launched off of it. So I went in through the front, right? I could have done Attack on Titan, where I could have latched on and kind of flew around its back and tried to do it. But with a scythe, it's a little difficult. So I just tried to go from under it. So he slides under, he gets the hook, latches it onto the beast's chest, flies up, and the beast sees it at first, snaps at him, and luckily he just kind of avoids it, but he doesn't get snapped on, but as it's a closed mouth, it hits him really hard and damages basically one of his jets, kind of, right? Because he's got multiple jets in the back. But as he does that, you latch on again, and then you're able to slice underneath with the scythe. And as the body's dying, he's kind of like gravitating towards the beach. So the body is, mostly underwater, but its head is kind of like on the beach. And
Okay, nice.
it's kind of like a trophy. And what I'm envisioning is like, you show a battered, the creature's head's there, Newcastle at the outpost sees it, and it's kind of like treated as like, okay, this is going to be a monument, right? Like, we're going to take this
Yeah.
head and create it as some kind of like monument to, taking this down, basically.
It's fitting. Iron Claw with the hook mouth, right? Like, it just kind
Mm-hmm.
of, it all symbolizes pretty well there. I like that a lot.
Man, that
Well,
was a good pick.
yeah, nice. Awesome. So we have both successfully taken out our first kaijus. And our pilots survive. So that means a couple different things. One is that our pilots will move on to front 2, and they will increase in rank, right? So we will have 2 level 2 pilots. And we get to add an extra upgrade, and then we'll see what the next threat is. But what that also means is that while this one did run pretty long, which is fine, we're introducing it. We had to do a bunch of the rules and all that good stuff. This part is going to be the only one that is on our Glitch Cube feed, right? If you guys want to listen to the rest of it, then you're going to have to head over to IBS, our other show, where you hear about zones 2 and 3, the middle and the finale of this game. But don't worry. It's all there for you guys. You can check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And for us, we're just going to jump right into the next parts because this is fun. Once this thing gets going, it's pretty cool, man. I'm really digging it. And yeah, we both just beat our kaijus. So we're going to do a little bit of world building, some lore, and all that good stuff before we start getting into preparations for the next battle. Because who knows what's going to happen next. But anyway, yeah.